Good morning. First of all, it's a pleasure to be here in Medellin again at this FINUT conference. I'd like to thank you very much, the organizer, for giving me this opportunity. My talk would be about the potentiality of food design to different aspects, the sustainability, the food security, and the improvement of nutritional quality of the food. Here are also my statements about my collaboration with companies, but of course this presentation is just what I think about the matter. So when you look at the potentiality of food design, I always like to say that this is a pragmatic way to look at the future of the food scenario. So we can expect that many things will change in the future, but especially will change the ingredients that there are into foods, but not the food type. The pillar food product will remain the same. We'll keep on eating pasta, sandwiches, burger, meatballs, or soup. The type of food product will remain the same. But what we have to change is what is inside this product, keeping in mind always some pragmatic element. For instance, that consumers will keep on eating and buying what they like. So if we are not able to make the healthy choice, the happy choice, any effort will be worthless, because no one is gonna buy the perfect food product if they don't like it. So the good news, I can tell already from the beginning, is that we have the tool to design food, to reformulate food that can provide this double advantage, the sustainability and the nutritional improvement, using at the best the knowledge that we have already now on the functionality of the digestive system and on the technological potential. So, of course, the future of the food is foggy. We don't know exactly what will be in 250, but there are some elements that, for sure, we can start to consider. First of all, when we look at the challenge of food security, there is a very clear, steep increase in the global food demand. So the number of calories that will be needed to feed the increasing population on the planet is growing, and is not only a matter of the increase of population, but as we have heard also in the previous presentation, there is a clear trend from in some countries of the, let's say, the global south, that they will eat more calories in the future because they have been undernourished for many centuries. So we can expect that the number of calories that are now, let's say, low in some countries, they will grow, approaching the number of calories that is now currently consumed in the let's say, global north or global west, if you prefer. And we do not expect that in these, let's say, advanced country, there will be a decrease in the calorie consumption. So that altogether, this will mean that there is an increase of need of the production from our food production system. Of course, this is the challenge of sustainability. We have one planet, and this planet cannot produce an infinite amount of calorie. And there are many actions that we can consider to, let's say, cope with this global food demand. Today, I'm gonna focus especially on two elements. So the upcycling of existing co-products, so using better what we already produce. And in the second part, we will also consider which are novel food sources that can be used. On the other hand, there are many other actions. Many of us can play in this playground, because there are all the elements of the primary production, like precision irrigation, agriculture, urban agriculture is something that is very popular now. as well as avoiding other type of losses, like what we can do with packaging, with the blockchain, with the preservation tools. So many things can be done. Today we will focus on the two in red in this slide. Talking about the upcycling of existing byproducts, so we recently came out with this position paper on trends in food science, where we propose this byproduct bioprocess wheel. The intention of this wheel is just to give in a glance what can be done with the different stream from cereals, vegetable, and fruits. So more specifically, which are the byproducts that are available and what can be obtained from that byproduct just using biological processing. So, and when I say biological processing, I mean use of enzymes and use of fermentation agent. So we show in this paper already some examples, and I would like to discuss with you a couple of them just to give a more clear expectation of what we have. One is a case of mango peels that we have done using the factory in Mali. So Mali is a country with many problems, but there is this factory in the south producing mango juice, and very good quality mango juice. But of course, when you produce the juice from the mango, there is a large part of the mangoes that are not used. So all the peels, the kernels, so it's about 60% of the whole material that is just wasted. We show that applying a combination of enzyme-assisted extraction and fermentation, it's possible to recover a significant part of this waste and transforming it into an ingredient rich in oligosaccharides and fibers and polyphenols, mangiferin, that is a very strong anti-inflammatory compound. And these ingredients has a very strong gut health functionality, so can be used as an ingredient both in other food or in nutraceutical application. So this is a nice example of upcycling. But also, if we don't go just to the bioprocess possibility, but we look more in general with how technology can be used to valorize traditional foods and novel food sources. We have done several studies in Africa, and we publish on this Global Food Security, that is a journal dealing exactly with some general tools to improve let's say the value for the society. And in this case, we focus both on maize, on corn, that is a pillar food in many South African countries, and also on a specific product that are the weaning food, the child complementary food products that are food that are used for children, after the breastfeeding, before they can eat the normal diet. There is this let's say months of the life of the children that are critical for their development. So we propose some specific technological improvement for this element. I want just to give you a couple of examples. So for the use of maize, we just consider what can be done based on Mexican tradition. So the difference between Mexico and Africa is in Mexico, the maize is a staple food for forever, right? For millennials, the Mexicans learn how to treat maize to create an enormous variety of products. In Africa, the maize was imported recently, and most of the maize-based food are just porridge with limited variation, and also very poor nutritional quality, so just basically starch. So we show how using a nixtamalization, that is the alkaline cooking, we can create a variety of products starting from the local African food, but also how we can use again upcycling condition. We can use extrusion, for instance, so a technology to reduce the waste and increasing also the nutritional quality of the African maize-based food product. So in this paper you can find a lot of example of how processing is a tool to create product diversity. That is a kind of a counterintuitive. We always think about product diversity like starting from the field, so the biodiversity generated by different accession or varieties of the food of the plant, but also processing can be used to create product diversity. This is a concept that I like very much and should be in mind of all the food technologists. Also for legumes, we have done a very nice work with Juliette using Bambara groundnut. Bambara is a legumes underused in Africa, although it's very good because it's a climate resistant legume, so can grow in a very drought conditions. It's kind of a peanuts if you look at the pictures, so it grows. The seeds are found attached to the roots. We show these legumes has a very big problem. It's the problem of so-called hard to cook. So basically, after harvesting, in a few weeks, let's say, in the moisty condition typically of the producing country, become very hard. So there is the tegument of the legumes make a lot of cross-linking, and then to cook these legumes requires hours of boiling in water, but hours of boiling requires a lot of wood, firewoods, and so it's a lot of energy, and that's a limitation to their use. So with Juliette, we propose a kind of a map with all the technological intervention that can be done, simple technological intervention like roasting, soaking, and this type of actions in order to produce ingredients that can be stored and used all the years, like these grits, rupizza, and you can read in the article if you want how many things can be done using processing to overcome the challenges given by some specific legumes varieties. Okay, I promised you to say something also about the novel food sources, so not only the technological intervention. This is another area, and maybe is important to approach this area considering that when we look at the challenges of the future, the main point is not just in general the calories, as I said in the first part, but more specifically the proteins. Because the protein shortage and the shortage of proteins of good quality are actually the most challenging aspect of the future food security. Basically, this is very clear. There is a strong increase in demand of animal proteins, so both meat and dairy. This is something that is keep on increasing. But on the other hand, the planet cannot afford to raise more and more animals. This is clear, and this is why we have a big commitment in find what we call the protein transition. In Wageningen, there is an enormous effort to accompany this protein transition, finding the right technological solution. And actually, the Netherlands proved to be a very good country to do experiment in food sectors, because the Dutch people, they are very willing to try new products. And in this respect, the market of meat analog is relatively expanding, not replacing all the meat product, of course. but there are, as you can see in this picture, in a Dutch supermarket, there is a significant variety of products available for those who want to reduce the meat consumption. But of course, we are still talking about legumes, so soy, pea protein, lentils proteins, but are still legumes that can be also consumed in other more conventional ways. So the question is, if there is something else that we can use, some really new sources. And probably you have heard about the cultured meat or synthetic meat. The idea behind the whole story is that cell-based food can be used, so cells can be grown in a fermenter in a very standardized condition. Can these cell proteins be an alternative to the animal proteins? Now, in principle, this is a very good idea because cells are made essentially by proteins, no matter which type of cells. So animal cells are made of proteins, but also plant cells, but also all the unicellular organisms are contain a huge amount of proteins. Between 50 and 70% of a cell is made by proteins. And my point on this discussion is that actually, from the nutritional perspective, there are not big differences in the nutritional value of proteins coming from different type of cells. So from marketing perspective, using cells from muscle of pork or beef can be more attractive, but when we go down into the nutritional value, the nutritional value of microalgae protein or fungi protein are potentially very similar to the one of animal protein. So we did some studies in this story, and for instance, we focus on the yeast. That is a cell that is very well accepted concept. Eating yeast is something from beer, from bread. I mean, that's something that we are accustomed as human. And we saw that the yeast can be easily disrupted and forming a kind of a paste after the milling, and this paste has some interesting technofunctional properties. So we do think that the yeast is something that is much easier to grow than animal cells and potentially have a future as a food biomass. More than yeast, for many years, we have been studies microalgae. Microalgae hold a great promise in the food sector, but also in many other sectors, because microalgae are photosynthetic organisms, so they are carbon negative, and they are very rich of proteins. The problem with microalgae is the cost of fermentation, and so up to now their price on the market is not comparable with the one of legume solutions, particularly of soy. The reason why microalgae are so expensive is that they get easily contaminated, so their cultivation is not something for farmers, it's something for biotechnologists. Some years ago, we focused on this strain of microalgae named Galdieria. Galdieria has a big advantage because it is an extremophile microalgae that grows in volcano pots, so it grows in acidic condition and high temperature, so cannot be contaminated by other microorganisms. Unfortunately, because of their physiological capability of growing in extremophile conditions, the cell walls of Galdieria is very strong, it's very difficult to break down. So when we try to use Galdieria for food purposes, we face the challenge of disruption of the cell wall. And it can be done with this cryomilling or bead milling condition, but we can say that part of the advantages that we had in growing Galdieria in a better, in a easier and better conditions, we lost in the processing because of the harsh processing condition that we need to use. But still, let's say that cell-based food, I think it's something that we will for sure hear more in the coming years. So coming to the final message of this talk, I would like to say that we as as a food technologist and all those scientists playing a role in these food systems, we have the responsibility to design food that are nutritionally sound and sustainable to face the challenging of food security. And in this respect, we have a big ally that is the food processing. So food processing is a tool that we can use to achieve all these goals. Of course, we need to have to use this tool in a smart way and go for better processing, not less processing. Thank you very much for your attention.